Hello guys, it's Jake Harris, and today I'm going to be doing a Bootstrap Vue tutorial on how to create a simple login form with validation. Now, before we get started with anything, you need to install node.js. It's cross-platform, so just select your operating system here. Now that you've installed node.js, we're going to be creating the project and installing its dependencies. So, copy this command, and I'll put all these in the description so you don't have to go to this site. And don't put the last parameter because we're going to call our project something else. So terminal, and then I'm going to go to my desktop because I want the project to be created on my desktop, and then paste the command, and as our name, I'm just going to put Jake Harris Vue test, and make sure there's no capital letters and there's no spaces, and then you can just press enter and it will do its thing. Now this will take around 3 minutes, and then I'll cut the video until it's done. Alright guys, so now it will pop up this, we just want to select default, so just press enter, and this will take another 1 minute, so I'll cut the video. Alright guys, so now that it's finished, this should show up, so there should be no errors, and then I'm just going to cd into my folder, as you can see here, and before we run the server, I'm going to open the project in Visual Studio Code, so that we can edit the code of course. So there we go. Now after we've done this, before we run the server, I'm going to edit some of the files, because included in the default template is a lot of junk that we will never use. So this is going to be our app, and we don't want anything right now, so we'll just get rid of that. We're going to get rid of this import and then put this up here, and we're going to get rid of the components. We can get rid of everything actually, just leave that blank for now, and we're going to get rid of the style because we're already using Bootstrap, so we don't need the styles. Now we can save that, and in our components just delete hello Vue or hello world.vue. Alright, now in our main.js, this is where we're going to include BootstrapVue, because we've actually only installed the Vue.js template. We haven't actually installed BootstrapVue. So what we're going to do is once you've cd'd into it, you're just going to type npm space I just means install, and then bootstrap-vue, like that, and then press enter. Now this won't take as long as the actual Vue.js installation, but I'll still cut the video to when it's done. So there we go, that's what it should look like when it's finished. Now we need to actually include it in our main.js. So from the documentation, all we need to copy are these lines. Not the first line, because Vue's already included. As you can see, yeah, Vue's already included. So after app, just do an enter, and you can just paste it right there. So this will import the main library with the icons, and then this will import the style sheets, and then this will use them in Vue. Now we can just do a Command S to save it. We can close out of that because we won't need to use main.js anymore. And we can actually start the server. So to start the server, we should do npm run and then serve, just like that. This will take around 10 seconds. So here we go, starting development server. And pay attention to the ports it uses, because you'll need to type that in your browser too. So just waiting now. Yeah. Alright, so the port is just 8080. So we're going to go into I already have the website here. But yeah, so make sure you include the port, and then you can just reload it. And there should be nothing yet. And the reason there's nothing is because there's nothing here, and this is what our app will be. So let me just put a heading just to see if it's working. So Jake Harris, hello there. Now, yep, and look at that, it's live. We don't even have to refresh, it's live. And now we can get started with the form. So we're going to put it in a container, of course. You always want to put everything in a container. And all the tags for Bootstrap Vue will start with B and then dash. So make sure you don't forget that. Now we're going to do a row for our app. We're just going to do a row right here. And the class will be justify-content-md center. And this will put our app in the center of the screen as we want. And we're going to put a margin at the top of 4. So mt margin top -4. Because we don't want the form touching the top of the browser. It looks weird. We need some padding. So we can end that tag and then end it here. Now that we've done that, we're going to make a column system, because we don't want the form to be the whole width of the container. It looks really weird. We're just going to make it 8 column. So we're just going to do col.md and then just 8 like that, and then end it right here. Now that we've done the columns, let's make the actual card. So this will be, our form will be in the card. So right now we're just going to do b-card, and we're going to actually make the header of it. So the header will be the text that it displays. So it's Jake Harris login form, and I'm just going to put this on a new line because it's going to get a bit there's going to be a lot of attributes here, so I need to put it on a different line. And then I don't like the default color of the card, which is grey. I want it to be blue because blue stands out. So what we're going to do to do that is we're going to do header-bg, bg meaning background, and we're going to set the variant of it to primary. Primary is just blue in Bootstrap. And then we're going to make the text variant, we're going to make the text white, because black text on blue background doesn't look right. So there we go. And that's all we have to do for the card. And we can end the card right here. And then there we go. So our card's done. And then to actually create text in the card, we just do card text like that. And then end it. And let's just see if it works before we create our form. So, hello. Alright, let's refresh. And there we go. We've got our nice looking form with the padding at the top here. And it doesn't take up the whole screen. And then there we go. Now we can actually create our form because that's all we've done. So now to create the form, all we got to do is, or we got to actually start the form tag here. And then when we submit the form, this is going to be what's handled. So we're going to do a function called onSubmit. And you'll see what this means later. We don't have to worry about this now. And then we've got to end this tag, of course. And then after we've created the form, we've got to actually create the form fields. So we're going to put these in groups so that we can have text above and beneath. And for the groups, we're going to put a description. So the description will be under the form input field. So this will just give a brief idea of what the user needs to do. So we're just going to put enter your username, like that. And then I'm going to put this on a new line because this is going to get a bit crowded again. So then the label will just be username. That will be above the input field. And then after that, that should be good. So we're just going to close this tag. And then we're going to close it here too. And then in here, we're going to put an actual input field. So what we're going to do is just input or form-input. And then we're going to put, we're going to close the tag real quick. And then we're going to put v-model. And then we're going to set that to name. Or let's make it username because name's a bit too broad. And then we're going to put required because we want the person to fill it out. Now this might look a bit confusing, but I'll get to this later. Actually, I'll get to it now. So what we're going to do in our Vue constructor right here is just set data and then set a return object, and then we're going to put username. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. We're going to put username, and we're just going to put it equal to that because we always want to make it just a blank string. So now what this does, it binds it. So when the person types into this field, it will store it here. And we'll need this for many reasons, like data validation and whatnot. So now that we've created the username field, we obviously have to create the password field. So we can just copy this and then paste it like that. And then we just got to edit some of the fields, some of the attributes too. So password, and then we're going to make this save to password. And now we're going to create another object right here, or value right here, and just set that to nothing. And make sure if you're putting more than one, make sure to put a comma at the end there. Alright, so now that we've done the form, let's just check it out before we continue. So there we go, look at that. So everything works. Oh, we need to fix this actually. So for this, we actually want to put it as type equals password. This will make it so the password is blurred out. So you'll see Jake, yeah, like that. There we go. So now we just need to make a submit button and then add all the logic. So that's what we're going to do now. So before we keep continuing with our Vue constructor here, we're just going to add a submit button. So the way of doing this is we're going to put another form group. And then in the form group, we're going to do b.button. So this is going to be the bootstrap button. And then we're going to make it a submit the form. So type equals submit. And I don't want it to be the default button. I'm actually going to make it an outline. So we're going to do variant, outline, and primary. So it's going to be the same color as our header, but it'll be an outline. I want it to be outline because we already have a whole color as a header. So we want to make it a bit different. And then for the text inside it, we're just going to put login. So let's see. Refresh. Look at that. Works very nice. Obviously there's nothing here because we haven't done any logic yet. But there we go. So everything works out right now. So Now we're going to actually add the logic to the form. And to do that, we're going to be using Vue. Or we're going to be starting in our Vue constructor. We've already done all the markup here. But now it's actually time to include the logic. So we're going to do well, first of all, we're going to work on the submit event. Before we do any validation, we're just going to make sure the form works. So what we're going to do is after data, we're going to put a comma after the curly brace and then add to the methods object. And we're going to do our submit event or submit function and then add an event to the function as a parameter. And then we're just going to alert, or actually before we alert anything, we're going to do event.prevent default. This will make it so the form doesn't refresh. We don't want it to refresh. And then we're just going to return this.username. So this will return the username that the person puts in the field. And we're just going to put a space. We're going to put plus to concatenate. This will join the strings. And then we're going to put password. So let's see if this works. So save. We're going to go back. And now we're going to type so Jake, and my password will just be test. Now log in. Yeah, look, Jake test. And it didn't refresh the page too. So that means everything's working. So now we're going to add logic. So let me just refresh. Now, we're going to add logic because look at this, right? If I just click login, it will ask for this. But what if we actually want the button to be disabled? Because it doesn't make sense for the button to be active like this if there's nothing here. So we're going to add logic to make the button be disabled if there's nothing in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, instead of methods, we're going to put a comma and make computed. And then we're just going to make acceptable submission. So this is going to be a function and it's going to check if the form is able to be submitted yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to return, and we're going to use a ternary operator here. So we're going to use an if else, but we're going to put it as question mark and then colon. You'll see what I mean. So if this username length is more than 0, so if someone's typed in the username field, and also if someone's typed in the password field, then what we're going to do right here, this is the ternary operator, then we're going to just return true. And otherwise, if there's nothing, return false, like that. And then to our submit button right here, what we're going to do is we're going to add disabled. And we're going to add this colon, because this is going to make sure if it's going to check this function right here. So we're going to add disabled equals acceptable submission. So all this will do, it will disable the button if it's not ready to be submitted. So it will check if the username length and password length. So let's save this and go to our app. Just give it a refresh. And I did that wrong. I should have done it the other way around. My bad, guys. There we go, like that. Sorry, I did that wrong. So as you can see, look at this. Clicking the button, nothing's happening. So let's put some characters. And look at that. The button goes active. And look, and then unactive. So as you can see, that's very good. We want that. Sorry, I'm not thinking today. I did it the other way around. You're supposed to do false and then true, but my bad. So now, yeah, that's our form. Alright, guys. So now let's put Jake test login. Yep, there we go. So there we go. There's our login form, guys. Very simple tutorial we had, I know, but it's a good introduction to Vue. And as you can see, we did our data validation, and when the form is ready to be submitted, it puts an alert. And you can change this to what you want, but this is the general idea of how Vue works. So there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys learned something. And in our next tutorial, we're actually going to add a register form. And in the register form, we're going to basically copy the same code, but we're going to add a bit. We're going to put valid feedback, and we're going to put, if the form isn't submitted right, we're going to put like red fields and error messages under the fields. And we're going to be going more in depth. This was just the basic login form idea concept for our website. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.